Hello everyone. So this time we will go over all the three challenges in the Pwnables and the crackables. Usually in this category of the challenges, there are vulnerable binary executables where we need to collect information from them by taking advantage of their vulnerabilities. So let's look at the challenges. In the first challenge, we have folder easy. There's a binary file called easy.bing, and we need to figure out there's some flag contained in this file. So usually in Linux, there's a very tool called strings, which allows us to dump all the symbols contained in a binary executable. Since we are interested in the flag only, we can do a grep command, or we can search by the FLG, and apparently this is the flag that we need. Now let's look at the medium challenge. In this challenge, we got two files. There's a C language source file medium.cc. And there's a binary executable which is compiled from it. But in the challenge folder, this medium.cc is changed slightly from the original C source file which generates the binary executable. We need to find out a flag which allows this binary executable to print out the message success. So let's look at the files. So notice that there's a function called generate flag. In the main function, there's a bunch of local variables. It first asks for a string and saves the string in a buffer. It then generates a flag and puts the flag into this local buffer called flag. And then it compares the flag with the buffer, which is the user entered string, and then it prints out the message success. So apparently this medium.bing is generated from a slightly different version from this medium.cc. But the nice thing is that because all the debugging symbols are there, we can take advantage of the C language source code. Let's set a breakpoint on the main function, and let's run it line by line. So we can just type some flags out there, and then it generates the flag. It does this string comparison. But now, since we have the GDB, we can simply print out the values of the variables. And apparently, this is the flag that we need. We can even verify this in the GDB debugger. We can simply do flag above equals if we let it continue, and you can see that we have the message success printed. So this verifies that the correct flag is indeed this magic string. All right, so let's look at the next hot level challenge. So this time we need a little bit more efforts. So still we got a similar file called hard.cc and similar binary executable called hard.bing. But this time we need to buffer overflow the hard.bing to enforce the program to print out flag. All right, so let's look at the files again. So again, this is roughly the file which generates the hard.bing file, but the source code has been modified. For example, the seed value of the flag is changed so that actually it is generating a different flag. And for another example, this entire source code is compiled to use a slightly different compiler so that the stack layout is slightly different. For example, in hard.bin, this local buffer lock is located actually at a higher address than above. So if we enter a much longer string than the capacity of the buff, I will be overwrite the buff, and then it's going to overwrite and reach the lock and overwrite the lock string. So the strategy is that what if I can type some very, very long string into the buff, and this string will extend and overwrite into this lock. So what if I put this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over there? And then when it gets to the point of string compare, because the lock is overwritten, I would be able to, achieve the equality on this string comparison. So that's the general strategy. I'm going to provide a longer string in the buff so that this part 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 fits into the lock, and then the string compare will be successful. All right. But to figure out the proper length of the string that I'm going to get, we can either use a brute force search approach because these two buffers are located pretty close to each other, or I can use a debugger to help me to figure it out. So let's gdb hard.bin. So I know that I'm going to hit a scan function, so I'm going to set a breakpoint on the scan function. So display the backtrace. I'm going to set a breakpoint on the return point in the main function. All right. So continue to it. So this time I am going to type a string like bunch of capital A's, like 4 A's. This is currently a good string because it's not exceeding the capacity of 10 characters. So go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Now you can see that we are reaching a string comparison function. And you can see that two parameters are located in the RSI and RDI register, respectively. They should be treated as the pointers to characters. You can see that this is one of the string that is being compared. This is another string, which is being compared, which is the lock. So my strategy is that what if I type a much longer string here so that I can overreach and get here? What if it can become 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? Then my comparison can be successful. So let's rerun the program. And continue. I know that there's a second breakpoint waiting for me after the completion of this code. So this time I am going to put a much longer string, a bunch of A's, and see that if it's going to overflow into the other string. All right, so we are reaching the string comparison again. Let's see that if the overflow is working or not. All right, you can see that this bunch of A's are showing up. So the next time I'm going to play with this is I'm trying to figure out how long should I encode my string. So let's run it again. So this time I'm going to put a number of characters, but each characters will be looking like very different from each other because I want to figure out what's the proper length. All right, so it looks like that KLMOPQ is the string that reflects the string that is fit overflown into the log string. So apparently I gotta keep A, B, C, D, E, F, G. ij, and starting from this position, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. All right, so run it again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. I think we actually need this so many characters. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So this time I'm expecting that the two strings will be equal to each other. Perfect. And then I get the flag dumped. So in fact, we don't actually need to do an overflow. So if you know GDB well, you can rewire the control flow so that it gets into the else branch, or you could dynamically at runtime to change the values of the registers so that you make the string comparison actually equal to each other without actually figuring out all this offset stuff. But anyways, this is a very nice example or demonstration of how buffer overflow could be used to control the program logic. All right, so that's pretty much the solution for all the challenges in the Pwnable category.